Hey guys, this is a companion piece to the previous video I just posted. I'll go through a bit more detail and some other updates because we've been in touch with China in order to fix. This is the old version, this is the prototype, this is the production copy. So I'm going to go through these and showcase some of the differences between these two volumes. Put that there. Put that there. Now, first thing obviously I'm going to take out the foreign languages and just take out the English ones. Put that aside there, put that aside there. And you'll see, obviously, first thing we made a point of fixing was getting the objective on the right side. Like this is the old version, and because it's off by one page, everything got screwed up. Because obviously this is supposed to be a 2-page spread. So I'm obviously very, very happy that this is now orientated correctly. So the components are orientated correctly. I'll be keeping point of these tokens. I'll be getting those back to those in a second. 36 tokens, 25 of these, 25 of these, 30. It's interesting now how we did that because we have the 25 of these and then we have 30 tasting purchase cheese views. So these are double-sided. This is something we'll talk about in this video about a design choice we made, which I'm sure will be very controversial, which was the idea that these tokens actually have different functions on either side. Our 6 character boards, 6 character tokens, 24 cheese cards, 24 tasting cards are basically identical, 13 purchase cards, and 50 tourist cards. There are the upgrade cards on here? No, they're right there. Day tracker token view, everything looks the way it should be. The only thing obviously is going to be the color. These trays are black now. They were actually never going to be cream, so it's just kind of a 3D render error. We were thinking of making them purple, but that never came about. But even the trays were supposed to be black. And also, we'll also notice here that these are an older design. You can see here in design that the images don't indent, and now they do. So you can see here, obviously, just right there, you can see the indent going across there, for example. Draft tourist phase character board, we go through the player order. We go through player turn, we go through it very quickly, and then we go into it in more detail. Optional 2-player rules. I made the 2-player rules optional because the Phantom kind of creates more combat, more interaction between players. Some players don't want that. They just want to play the game kind of as a glorified solo. But 2-player rules add the Phantom. And then these are the different locations: pit stop, cheese, purchase, the view, contract action, which used to have these we go by a different name, tasting, pairing, and we did it in order of time. You think we'd be doing it in alphabetical order? We didn't. So the first ones are the 30-minute ones: cheese, pit stop, and purchase. Then when we moved into view, it's still 30. We get to contract, which is 1 hour or longer. Tasting's 1 hour, and then the pairing, which is 2. Then we have the free actions of being able to purchase tokens and upgrades and so forth. We have the upgrade cards and how they're operating. And then we have the end of day. Like I said, very large text. We could have cut the pages down and reduce the text, because if you look at other manuals, they definitely have much smaller typeface. And I think if I did this over, I would probably realize, like, you know, this doesn't have to be this big. We could shrink it down. We can knock it down by 2 and knock off 4 or 5 pages. The other thing we could have done, which is something that in retrospect I probably could have done, is that we could have made the manual accommodate the entire, so it fills up this whole thing. That was kind of a limitation. I won't make any statements about decisions that were made, but I think in retrospect we could have cut down the pages count even more, smaller text, and maybe had it down to 20 pages instead of 32. But it's, you know, it is what it is. I guess it's not changing anything. It's just from a design standpoint. I definitely love the color. The color is nice. It's brilliant. But like I said, I hope no one's going to complain saying, you know, the text is too small. There's not enough illustrations. I'm hoping that this finally kind of, you know, explains everything. Solo rules. Fleet, which I fully admit, not a lot. There was some testing, but not nearly as much, so I'm hoping it really works out. FAQ, strategies and tactics, and then the symbol legend, which is also very, very important, shows you all the character abilities and all the upgrade cards. Then we have credits, all of our Kickstarter backers, so hopefully you'll find your name there. And then special thanks. Now these are Kickstarter backers. If you were pre-order, obviously you won't have your name in there, unfortunately. And then we have everyone's names there. Big thanks to Jason and Noah. Huh. I don't have Noah's name there. That was a naughty thing on my part. It's got Game Trade's logos everywhere, so I think we're good. And these are all the wineries. These are all the real wineries. This is something we added in later. Because obviously because of this issue with this, we realized we needed to add in 2 pages. So instead of just making blank or something like that, if I could, show the board and a bunch of photos that my wife took. And I mentioned in my previous video, these are all real photos, some real Naramata wine country, and they're basically where they're supposed to be. So Daydreamer is over here, Upper Bench is over here, Foreshadows, and there's a bit of a shout out. I tried to prioritize the contract of the signature wineries. It wasn't always the case, but the Serendipity is a signature. We have a photo of them. Upper Bench isn't. Foreshadows isn't. The Three Sisters, I think, is. So they got a little photo. Ruby Blues is also one, and they're right there. Elephant Island, and then of course we have the reference. So there is a reference card in there, but this gives you it in a lot more detail. So and then that's it. Those are. I'm happy that this looks really good. If we go into this one, you can see it once again, white page in order to get the reference on the back side. So. Now I'm going to put these aside for now. The manual, the boards are identical because the boards have not changed. So this, I'm not going to bother unfolding this because these have not gone through any changes at all. So the big mistake that was made with some of these tokens, the die hasn't changed, and we decided not to change the size of the cork because our first initial design doesn't fit. This was our later design of the tray. I'll go into details here, but it's actually, I'm rather fortunate too because this was widened, this vertical was widened to accommodate it, and it still doesn't fit. So China on their own went and did it horizontally, and it works perfectly because I can actually get my finger in there and to take it out, which I'm really happy about. So that's actually, they actually did me a solid. I'm actually pretty happy about that. The trays, I said in my previous video that this tray is slightly better because it falls in very quickly, but in this one, you have to kind of push it down, and you could actually, once you leave marks there, but it is slightly bigger. But everything else is the same. We have Naramata, we have the Game Trade's logo, which you'll see everywhere, and rightly so. He did fantastic work. We'll punch these out in a second. The die hasn't changed. As for these, obviously there was one noteworthy mistake in the prototype, and that was these yellow were not actually on the board. There aren't actually yellow signatures. What they missed, as you can see here, are the blues. So yellow got swapped for blue because there is a blue spot, there isn't a yellow spot. Everything else is fine, got the same number. But also, we also commented the fact that they also designed the cavity different. Now this cavity looks about the same. So if we go here, you'll see that they have changed. We've actually extended this cavity out here as well, which is good because you can easily fit. Now the way I do it, I put one character in each of these ones and then two here. And that was necessary from this perspective because these were smaller. Because now they're larger, you can do it however you want. You can do it two here, two here. Obviously, we went from 4 to 6, so we just had to squeeze it. But there's plenty of room to fit the other ones. And as I said, you'll see 6, 6, 6, 6, and then a 7th red token for there. We obviously have more than enough room in case we did an expansion for more tourists. Right now, I just have the reference cards here. And the reference cards are symbolic based, so they may seem a little confusing, but I wanted to make it symbolic based here. Just a quick reference, and back comes the words. You can always look at the back of the manual. There's 4 of them. This tells you the order. Pick a spot, add a token, pick one of those actions, and then you can also do this, and that gives you a pit stop, and then add the time, and then at 5 o'clock and so forth. And you can also buy an upgrade. And this tells you all the little things. So it's meant to be kind of a reference. The cheese, just 30 minutes. Pick 2 cards, draw 2 cards, pick one, right? Pay 2 to play another one, and then you get to discard one to gain the reward. That's basically what that says. It's symbology. Pairing, it's 2 hours. You get 1 pairing token for every tourist, and you also gain prestige based on your location on the board. So that's what that means. Tasting is 60 minutes. Oh, this is the contract action, 60 minutes. Grab a bottle, that's there. Gain of understand, but that's the important thing, tells you everything. I think it makes sense to me. We've mentioned numerous times that these are all real people. Some are Kickstarter backers, some are friends of mine, but they're all real people. And there's actually a few game designers and people in the industry. I have Jeremy Howard right there. And so there's that. So design, well, pretty good. Like I said, we had mentioned, this is the big one, that there's supposed to be 4 trays, but for some reason the prototype only got 1. I got to Tetris China. They understood the mistake. This was absolutely not a mistake. There's supposed to be 4, and I've also told them that this cut here is kind of not great. So I'm hoping that they said the production will make sure this is good. Here it looks a bit better. The problem with the prototype, mind you, with 2 of them were clear for some reason, and there was no need for them to be clear. So they're opaque, and they will be opaque, and they will be. The bad news was that in December we tried to send them a new design, because as we see here, the cards, they fit okay. They fit actually better than I thought they were, but I don't, you know, we're 100%. So we had the design of just cutting across this, and so there was no depth. But unfortunately, the molds were made, so we won't be doing that revision. We're going to be going with this, but once again, I don't think it's going to be an issue. Like I said, once again, these fit in quite nicely. I mean, they're snug, they fit, and I do like the look. So I'm not bummed out that we're not going to have the revised tray. It was a pretty minor thing, and we sent it on the wire, and it didn't work. It's not a big deal. We still got our trays, and then we'll make sure that those are high quality. I'm going to put as many of these into this prototype version as possible. I'll put 1 clear and put the rest there. And then obviously we split up the card decks. Once you get them, they're all basically bundled, but then you can go in, and I'll go through this really quickly. In this set right here, there are, as we said, 13. Now you probably may ask, wait, there's 3 4s, 3 5s, 3 6s, but only 2 3s and 2 7s. That's intentional. We wanted the 2 extremes to be lesser. Same thing goes with this, which are the cheese and tastings. There's 3 varieties of each. So this red wine has 3 varieties. 1 is a 4 reward, the other 2 are 3. And the cheese operate exactly the same way, but they are 2 and 2 1s. These are the upgrade cards. And the idea that you get to purchase these on your turn, they are active immediately. This is how much they cost. And you're only allowed a certain number active, and the ones that are inactive are flipped down. And then you get the points on them at the end of the game. There is one slight issue. Now, across the board, the points are 3 less than the cost. So if you pay 8, it's worth 5 points. If you pay 7, it's worth 4. However, for 2 specific cards, which are the end of day, which are the 6 o'clock cards, which extends your end of day to 6 o'clock, there's 2 of them. There's one for a 2-player game, and then another one added in for 3 and 4. They are reduced to 3, so technically they should be 4, but for these 2 cards they're specifically 3. Now I could throw an errata and say that this is supposed to be, but at the end of the day I actually think that because this card is as powerful as it is, I think it should stay at 3. So I'm not really concerned. I don't think it's a real bug. It's only 1 point, and I don't think it's going to really affect something. If someone really wants to be a stickler, then yeah, they can say that the end of day cards are 4 points instead of 3. That is the only printing error that I found in the entire game, and I'm really lucky because a lot of games are a lot worse shape than that. So it's a 1 point differential on these 2 specific cards, which I don't think is a problem. I think is actually probably more correct. So yeah, that's all of these. Will they hold all of them? Kinda. But that's because we decided to add a few more tokens at the last second. If you look at the manual, we'll see here that it's supposed to have 25 double-sided favor tokens, 25 double-sided parry tokens, and 30 double-sided view tokens, and then 35 double-sided prestige tokens. Now, if we look here and we look at the favor tokens, we see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. So there's actually 32 favor tokens in the game. The manual says 25. They're all the same, mind you. They're still 1 and 2 denominations that we've talked about. You place it there, or no, this is prestige, but you can swap it out. You spend 2 to get 1, and then the 1 you can remove. That's just something we designed. But obviously, once again, that's a lot more. That's 8 more tokens. I think let's see here, we might be the right number for these. Let's see here. 30. So there's the proper number of these, which means I wonder if the coins are off, just because we have coins here. So we hold stuff 35, 1, 2. Yeah, so we have 6 more of these as than indicated. So 6 more of those. So once again, there are more of these, which actually means that technically these 4 and these 6 you don't need. You can toss these if you want. And if you do decide to keep them, and logically you probably will, this is going to be a slightly tight fit, which we'll go through right now. Let's first let's look at these. So that's the red Jeep. That's the not Tesla. The Pimpy Colorline van that has the image of Amethyst, which is my RPG. Ming Chen, who's an actual podcaster, a guy I've met numerous times. That, however, is my car, with the logo removed. We have the Not Hummer with a couple friends of mine. This is the only one that's not a real person. Actually, well, technically, that one's not a real person, although it was inspired by a real person. This is also not a person. Look at a person, but this is our blue microbus, which is totally not a Volkswagen. And there we go. Those are 6 characters. Very happy about those. And then the proper way to load these up, in my opinion, because these do kind of fit into each other. So you can, if you want, just lay them like that. They do stick up a little bit. So I've felt personally the best way to do it is to load them like that. I think personally it works better this way. And we can see how well they fit. They fit perfectly in their spots. We do that, and then we fit the other 2, and boom, look at that. More than enough room. So that's just information about boxing these things correctly, is put your cards in the trays and then put the other 2 atop, and you will fit perfectly in that spot. So if anyone's confused, that doesn't fit, there's your answer. Fits perfectly just like that. I'm going to punch these out. Since now, one way of doing this, if there is around 40 or so, is to put 20 into each tray. That's one way of doing it. You can just split these up. Because that's the whole idea, is to have 2 trays, one on either side of the table. Our initial design was to have just one giant tray. That was the first initial design, was to have one giant tray. And then for reasons which are not 100% explained, Noah just decided to flip them around and make 2 small ones. So there you go. There's one example. Trays in each one. Actually, we can probably squeeze. Can we squeeze? It'd probably be a tight fit. Let's see here. 3 here. Yeah, definitely tight fit. Like I said, that once again, these are going to be really snug. And like I said, if anyone really complains that these are too tight, technically you can remove 6 of these tokens and so forth. We have these pairing tokens, which are double-sided again, but instead of being 1 and 2 quantity, the pairing token flips over to be the lock token. So I think that makes sense. It should be easy to remember that it's the same symbol both sides. How many of those are we supposed to have? 25. I should have made, now that we had 2 trays, I should have made them all even numbers. In retrospect, I think that would have been a better option. Instead of adding in more of the coins and symbols, I should have just had an even number so you could split them. So it would be like 26, 13 on either side, right? So we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, which we put the remaining 12 in that one. So there becomes that other tray. So next up is going to be these, and we know there's enough of these. There's 30 of those. So if we go 15 in each spot, we should be good. And once again, just like the coins, we have a 2 and a 1 variety. So we shouldn't have any issues. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. That fits in pretty well. Like I said, that's actually doing quite well. And then we fit the other ones right there. That's actually a pretty solid fit. Then we have is going to be, let's split up the favor tokens. Now we know we have extras of those. So we have about 30 or so. So we go 15 of each. And that should fit perfectly in that spot. Well, we could have actually moved them there, but whatever. And that means the other ones, and like I said, if you want to remove the excess, you can. It's not going to change anything. In retrospect, I should have added just blanks. So people would get rid of them and you wouldn't. But it looks like these are going to fit quite nicely in here, to be perfectly honest. So that fits in there. And like that fits perfectly well. Looks so far so good. I'm actually feeling really confident about this. We've got our coins, we've got everything. Now this is going to be the interesting thing. We have one. Technically, we should have moved these to here just because there's more of these, but because these chambers are bigger. But it shows you that these are actually fitting a lot better than I thought they would. Now this is where the controversy is going to come from. The fact that cheese and the view are double-sided. We could have just put 12 or 13, 13. And once again, now that we had the extra room, it might have made more sense to add these and not make them double-sided. But they are what they are. So we have should have 26 of these, so 13 in each chamber. 1, 2, go here. And it's pretty easy. The 30-minute tokens are basically the same. That's basically the rule for these. 30-minute tokens here. And then the tastings and the purchases are double-sided. And there are 30 of those, so there should be 15 in each chamber. And 15 in there. So look at that. It actually does all fit quite nicely. With a tribute to Noah. Like I said, that's the only thing that may confuse people is the fact that purchase and tastings are on one side, cheese and view are on the other. Everything else is straightforward. Right? It also allowed us to, because it also has the perfect segmented chambers, if we needed to have separate tokens for these, then they would be filling in the same token. It's the same chamber. Or we'd have to add more divisions, and obviously, clearly, we wouldn't have room for that. So I think, all in all, this is a good idea. And these fit. Look at this. They don't jiggle either. And so that fits right there. So there we go. I love punching these things. So does my wife. So there we go. The die, there's no spot really for the die, but it seems to fit perfectly in these two spots. And then these all fit in here. All 12 of them. 2 of each color. 6 signature wineries. So there you go. And then, hopefully then, this fits right here, and we can see it slides a little bit here and there, but that's pretty minor. It actually fits perfectly on the left hand right, and these fit really nice as well. I would definitely have it like that. And then the 3 manuals, these are the old ones, aren't they? They are. These are the proper ones. So 1, 2, and 3. Look at that. Now, Jason Bowles, being an amazing man he is, has something called the Bowles mark. Something he does that's signature, so we know it's his, which is this little thing right here. And that tells you the orientation of the box, so it's going to be straight the other side. So that's the Bowles mark, the Naramata. So you face up, so you know that it goes like that. And we can see here the seam is perfect all the way around. That got damaged in shipping, unfortunately. And see what I mean? Straight, thanks to that Bowles mark. Now, I test something here. Now, let's see. Let's see how things move around. This jig a little bit. We can, oh, look at that. That stayed. These moved around a little bit. This did not fall out. How about the tokens? Not bad. Only 1 token fell out of there. And the cards actually did really well. Only 1 card kind of moved out of spot. So that was the ultimate test. And it passed. In my opinion, that passed. So let's put that back. The point is that if you lift it up on its side, oopsie. Let's say I missed these things. So this one technically is a sellable copy. The only offshoot is going to be one of the trays being clear. This is going to be my personal copy. I'm not gonna curse a backer to have the prototype copy. God knows if you really want it, you can have it. But this is going to be the version we're going to be showing off when we come south to show people, so we don't open up a copy here. But there you go. Closes up really nicely. We have my logo, Jesus Machina's logo, and Game Trays is there as well. Perfect. 1 to 4 players, 14 and up, 60, 120 minutes. Right, got our Game Tray stuff as well. And there you go. That is our production. It is in production now. And I'm hoping it's going to get shipped quickly. Right now it's the race to see about getting this thing done and shipped before the Chinese New Year. If we can get that, then hopefully it will be here very, very quickly. So I'm very happy. We can see the improvements made, more or less just in the manual and in the tray design. This one, unfortunately, I took the trays out of it, so only one tray in there. If I can find somebody with a 3D printer that's large enough, I might be able to print extra trays, and then this one will be playable. Oh, that's why. That's trying to figure out why that was falling down. Because unfortunately, this does not fit here because of that air. So there you go. And then the 3 defective manuals. And of course, the other final nail in this issue, which was, of course, the fact that it was too shallow. Actually, the new one does not have that issue. Anyway, guys, there we go. There's our unboxing and reboxing of the prototype and the production. This is the final version of the game that you're going to see. This is 99.9%. Obviously, one tray is clear, and hopefully they'll be cut a little bit better. But yeah, there you go. Like and subscribe if you guys want to, and I will see you guys next time.